Perfect. Welcome back, colleagues, because we're colleagues. This is our second session. Today, we're going to focus on the digital ecosystems in English language teaching. We're going to talk about some tools that we can, some online tools, of course, that we can use both for, planning, for designing your classes, or not even a full class. You only for designing exercises as well, for just preparing the structure of your lesson, okay? And of course, we're going to also address one of our biggest elephants in the room, the constraints that a lot of teachers face depending on the place where they work. We're talking about specifically professors there in Venezuela where you tell me, well, teacher, I only have a blackboard and a chalk. So what can I do? There's some things you can do at least to help you prepare your classes in a more effective way. Hmm? Now, let's start with the frameworks for technology integration. And here we have two important aspects, the TPAC, not 2PAC, that's a wrapper, and the SAMR. For the TPAC, we have technology, pedagogical, content, knowledge. That's the meaning of this. It's basically when effective teaching requires the integration of technology, pedagogy, and subject matter. It's not just using ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, whatever, just because it's nice, just because it's easier, just because it's simpler, whatever, because your effectiveness needs to be enhanced. I have noticed that once I started using AI for the planning of my classes, the designing of everything, it's amazing how every single idea I have in my head gets shown on screen if I use the correct prompt. As I mentioned in the previous class, everything you see on screen was designed with the help of AI. I explain ChatGPT what I want, and ChatGPT helps me with the design of everything. Sometimes it might make mistakes, especially with text. That's normal. That's what we call hallucination from AI, when sometimes it mixes the letters or the symbols. The people from the company that designed ChatGPT has been working on that, and it's better. Right now, it's in version 5.2, if I'm not wrong. And this you see on screen couldn't be possible with version 4.0. It was absolutely impossible for some versions back in the past for ChatGPT to design a picture with the text you tell it to show. Now, oftentimes those mistakes occur, and what we can do is just tell ChatGPT, please redesign the image because this message says this, and it should say this. So with the correct prompt, you can do it. So this is used as a matter of enhancing your teaching skills, okay? And the SAMR stands for, it's a four-stage model for integrating technology, which is substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. Yes, yes. If you change the order of the letters, is something absolutely different, which is really popular nowadays on the internet. But this is a difference. It's a framework. But I get what you mean, Carlos. Yeah. Substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. This four-stage modeling helps you prepare your classes in the most effective way. And again, let me eliminate that thing that prepare your classes. Even prepare specific exercises, homeworks, evaluations first. And we're going to have an example of a live example of this today using Gemini. First, you prepare your prompt. After the AI gives you the results, okay, you can substitute some parts. That's basically what I do when I design the classes. Your classes. I tell ChatGPT the idea. I tell ChatGPT what I want on each slide. And at the same time, I include in the prompt, what do you suggest? I'm open to your suggestions. And it sometimes tells me, well, this I recommend you to do it this way, and you should also add this, and that. Then the augmentation part, what I do is, okay, so I really like this exercise you propose, but what we can do, for example, to make it more challenging for those know-it-all students, like Maria Daniela was telling at the beginning, for those know-it-all students, what kind of exercise can I have, like about the same topic, but for this specific student? That allows you to enhance at the same time the modification of your lesson. And of course, the final result is a whole redefinition of the content. I was, again, talking about AI with my family while we were having lunch. And my aunt, she told me that she was scared that what lots of people say, that AI is going to replace lots of people. And I told her it's progress. It's progress. It's like way back in the days when electricity was discovered and they were starting to install electricity in every single household. Well, if you look back, I forgot to look for the image, but there was a famous image in the previous year before electricity, uh, were just cartoons of artists warning about the dangers of electricity, how it was gonna kill every one of us. And look at us now. We are absolutely depending on electricity right now. Then same thing happened with the telegraph companies, the telegraphing companies. People used to communicate long distances, sending letters or telegraphs. And there were people hired to deliver these telegrams, to deliver these letters. Then, when the phone appeared, lots of people started saying, oh my God, so all these telegraphers are going to be without a job. What are they going to do? No one can interrupt progress. Look at us. We are like meeting today. I'm in Argentina. Most of you are in Venezuela. Edwin's in Colombia. Uh, if she has the chance to join Professor Crayley, she is in Mexico. This wouldn't have been possible if back in the days people had said, no, you're right, poor telegraphers. Let's stop the developing of the phone technology. This wouldn't have been possible. So it's a matter of progress. And the professionals who will be, because they will be substituted or replaced, will be those who have no idea on how to use AI. That's why, and I think I told you this in our first meeting, whether you like it or not, you have to learn or at least get familiar with AI. You have to. Like 3 semesters ago, I wasn't using AI basically at all, just for some examples here and there. And and I'm talking about my other students. And it took me around a week to design one class because I had to go and cherry pick the examples myself. Everything I wanted, the pictures, I had to look for them myself. Nowadays, it takes me 2 hours to design one class. 2 hours to design one class with the same quality, but way better images, way better presentation. That's how AI has enhanced, has augmented, in this case, my skills as a professor. Now, for you guys, I wanted to write on the chat, of course, one example of substitution versus redefinition in English language teaching. Maybe think of things you have done in your classrooms, things you're planning to do in your classrooms or the academies you work at, or maybe things you have seen while people use them. So, substitution and redefinition, just to check that everything was clear. So I wait for your examples. You can also activate the microphone and tell me the example if you prefer. Mhm. While you're doing that, I forgot to mention this. Well, I was talking about the professionals who will be substituted, those who have digital literacy will at least have a job, to be honest. They will have a job. But nowadays, I know professors already graduated, of course, who don't know how to use the internet properly, who don't know how to send an email and include a hidden copy of an email when you send it. And that's digital illiteracy. That cannot happen in 2026. We need digital competence, know how to use it. And of course, understand technology is not the same as pedagogical innovation. Yeah, technology is mostly known for electronic gadgets and stuff, but there are different ways to talk about technology. As a freaking stapler is technology, and a stapler helps us to put two pieces of paper together, just to give you an example. That's technology. But pedagogical innovation has to do with your own skills as a professor. Okay, wait for your examples on the chat, or you can activate your microphone and tell me. Let me check who has joined because I heard that the ring sound. Who has joined? Vincent, welcome, my dear Vincent. Let me add you to the list. We have Luis. Hello, Luis. Welcome.
Hello, Professor.
How you doing today, man? Still cold there?
Yeah, it's very cool here. I just joined maybe like five, maybe more than 10 minutes ago, but you were breaking, you were making a question and I couldn't grasp the question because you were breaking it. I think it's my internet. May you
Don't
please repeat
worry.
your question, Professor?
This is the question. I want you to in the chat just write an example of substitution versus redefinition in English language teaching. Think about something you have done in your classroom, something you want to do in your classroom, something you have seen your colleagues there do in their classrooms or in online meetings. Let me check. Uh-huh. Carlos says in the chat, I think a substitution example will be an evaluation I did for my students, but using a Google form. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about that today, by the way. Ashley says, I have an example. I learned using cards and reading books, pictures from a book. Now I use the page which has gifts from series who make more easy. Ah, yeah, that's so cute. And that, wait a minute, I think I know that page. I know that. What's the name of a page? I know it. I know it. I know. I've seen it. I've seen it. And that's really cool because you can use them as memes. And it, especially if it's for children, they go crazy about it. So for teenagers, they also go crazy about it. Paper was not used as is traditionally done. Is that a good example? Yeah. Yeah. The fact that, yeah, written exams are still important, but they cannot be the only way of evaluating nowadays. Just cannot.
Um, Professor Diaz,
Hmm.
I think one of the great examples of substitution is when we were using printed readings for the
Hmm.
students, and now we can create a WhatsApp group and we send to everyone the digital document, and they can read on the phone. That can be an
Exactly.
example of substitution.
And it also saves tons of money, especially in a
Yeah.
Venezuelan context where sadly sometimes children, especially if you work at a public school, they go to school just because of the food they give them there.
Mm.
So, and they don't have the money to get the copies, but
Oh,
they,
even the teachers can make sometimes
mm-hmm,
copies, and so
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Vincent says using Peer Deck, Google add-on that make your presentations very interactive and eye-appealing. Absolutely. By the way, a student on Monday, a student told me about Peer Deck, Vincent, now that you mention it. And I was also introduced to like a notebook from Google, which is amazing.
Yes,
I loved it.
Professor, sorry that I interrupt you, but
Hmm.
was this Google has a notebook. There's Google Notebook LM.
Hmm.
It's so
It's
good. I use it
oh
for learning and studying. It
man,
creates presentations and podcasts. I have to take a few
it's
other
incredible.
tests here in the country, and it just make I just asked ChatGPT. I put it there in this cloud in this forget the word this platform, and then it just make a podcast for me,
Yes.
and that's what I use for study.
It's incredible. This student, she works, she's a psychologist and she gives talks here and there. And of course, she works with her own patients. And she shared her notebook. And oh my God, when I saw the organizing of it, what is that? Oh, teacher, it's Google LM. Man, I was mesmerized. Ashley says, I sent you on
um,
the essay. Ah, the bamboozle. Bamboozle, yeah. Tell me, Jesus.
and Professor, you know that I discovered something related to AI that is so useful, and I recommend to everyone. And the time that we were taking classes, maybe your generation and mine, and we were reading a dialogue between the classical dialogue between two
Mm-hmm.
people. We used just to read it. We didn't have the audio. If we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the CD player to reproduce it, we couldn't listen. Just imagine the voices.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
you can create a document on Word, Microsoft Word, and you take it to Gemini,
Mm-hmm.
and it reproduces with two different
Yes.
voices.
That's
So you have it
amazing.
on
Yeah.
your computer or your device in front, the dialogue and the audio.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
That's
that's as an example of
yeah. That's
substitution and also a great
yeah.
resource.
Augmentation. Absolutely. Augmentation because our students, I mean, we are our pronunciation model for our students. They are supposed
Mm,
to follow, copy, imitate, however you want to call
yeah.
it, our
Uh,
pronunciation.
Well, let's suppose
But
that the class finished and they want to remember the pronunciation
mm-hmm,
of the words. They can
mm-hmm,
take it to Gemini,
mm-hmm.
and they will have that great resource.
Exactly. Vincent says, instead of writing on the board and taking notes, of course. Luis says, lately I've used AI to help me structure better evaluations, written tests, or two. Like you said, the images for children are way, yeah, absolutely, way better. Thanks to AI, for instance. I need to teach the kids action verbs. This I did for the, let me check it out. I love it. I love it. I mean, and the greatest thing is that you can tell AI the specific style you want for your images. So if your students love anime, you can, okay, do it with anime. If you have like the approval of the parents, you can get a picture of a student and tell AI to use the model, I mean, the face of a student on the examples, and it's way better. I've done it with a student I have. She's 12 years old, and she was absolutely mind blown when she saw her anime version on screen. She was like, is that me? Yeah. And she was absolutely involved in the class. Mhm. Yes, you guys did that, Maria Daniela. You guys did that. Nice, nice. Okay, let's continue. Thank you guys for your participation. So, key digital platforms and tools. Let's talk about the free and the freemium versions. When I say freemium, is like those that have like some free features, basic features that you can use, and at the same time, you can enhance those free features by paying a subscription. And some of this you have already mentioned. Some of this I have already mentioned. But let's take a look. Okay. This will help you, of course, empower your classroom. For LMS and course management, of course, you know Moodle. Moodle is basically, I I dare to say, is the number one used in online universities and institutes, not just universities around the world, because of a way it is like organized. I work for example, for a Mexican university. It's called the Baden-Powell Institute, and their online classroom is based on Moodle. And it's like something you already know how to work, and as a teacher, you already know how to upload the activities, and it's amazing. Google Classroom has been around for years, of course, and of course, Canvas. You know how versatile it can be. Now, for live interaction and assessment, for those times when, okay, you know that your students love using the internet, they love being on TikTok or whatever they are doing nowadays, but you can also give them some assignments like evaluations that they can do, and the web page evaluates that automatically, and it even sends you and their parents a report. Well, some of these you may already know. Wayground, formerly Quizzes. If you ever used Quizzes, it was amazing. They changed the name. Now it's Wayground because they thought that Quizzes was only for quizzes, and they changed, they reshaped the brand. It still has some of the features it used to have. Some other things changed inside formerly Quizzes that I don't like so much. Lots of publicity, but it still works amazingly. It still works amazingly. Kahoot remains the same way. It's also amazing. I don't know if you've heard about Socrative. It's also used for this type of interaction with students and assessments as well. Mentimeter is for online classes like this one, and you can have like immediate polls. You just paste the link, for example, on the chat. Students can vote. Zoom, for example, has an integration tool with Mentimeter, so students can vote and decide. So it's amazing, and that, of course, that's for Mentimeters for online classes only. And WordWall, I mentioned WordWall last session. I hope you remember, and if you don't, let me know. Let me tell you, WordWall is a life saver. And let me repeat, the correct way to use WordWall is, I mean, you can have your account. I have my free account on WordWall. It has a lot of limitations. Last time I checked, it does not allow you to store more than 4 creations. You can create 4 different exercises. You can't have more than 4. If you want more than 4, you need to pay. But WordWall has this huge library of resources. The only thing you need to do is, and to use it properly, go into Google. Let's say you want to teach present continuous. On Google, you write down WordWall present continuous, and then you have access, free, complete access to all the exercises that other teachers have designed. Of course, you need to check them in advance because some of them have terrible mistakes, but it's amazing. Luis says, I've done that with WordWall. That way I can see the exercise. Yes, that's the only way, because if you enter the page and you try to look for any activity, it says, no, you need to subscribe. I don't know. They haven't noticed it, but it's still working. Maria Daniela, tell me.
You remember that same segment homework you sent us to do? How is the name of that
That was some
application?
quizzes. That was some quizzes.
No, I did with Mariana, and we did the EI thing in a page. How is the name? I don't remember it.
I can't remember exactly now, but I remember I sent you lots of activities with quizzes. Like the first exam in one of the subjects I taught you was with
Yes.
quizzes. Yes. Yeah.
I did one when you give us
And you
the
and you guys designed also an activity. I
yes,
remember it was
that
a
one.
video comprehension activity. A
Yes.
video comprehension activity, you designed it with quizzes. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
remember.
Now, if your idea is to have your students collaborating, working in groups, of course, Google Workspace. It's like the definite solution for the paywall we have nowadays. Even for using, for just if you have to write down an assignment, prepare something, students can use it online. Of course, they need internet for doing so, but it's there. And like who mentioned that? I said we're going to talk about Google Workspace. I can't remember whom of you mentioned that, but of course, you can have a collaborative text. Like for example, an activity I did a long time ago. I had my students design like an essay. There were like 6 students, and each one of them had to write a part of the essay, a paragraph of the essay on this platform. It was collaborative writing. They were writing, one wrote it down, then the next one, then I used that through AI. It was amazing. And Padlet, yes, it had limited free boards, but Padlet, it's like a big bulletin board, but in this case, digital bulletin board. And it's really cool because on those bulletin boards, students can even include short videos or GIFs, images. And yes, I say GIF because the creator of that format, he said it's pronounced GIF. If you don't trust me, check it out. I can't remember the name of the guy who created the GIF format, but he said, I created it, and it's pronounced GIF. And who are you to say he's not right? So you can include those short videos, memes, and it's amazing. And you as a teacher, you can also post. It's really cool. It's really cool. Now, for you guys, which of these tools could, and please bear this in mind, realistically work in your teaching context? Realistically, because I understand some of you have like really tight contexts, but which one of these could realistically work for you, or which ones have you been able to use? Padlet, says Carlos. Mm-hmm. Who else? Moodle, yeah. Uh-huh. For LMS, I've used Google Classroom and it's great. Freaking Moodle always shut down. Yes, that's one thing on Moodle, but I think it's because of the amount of people who use it. I think. I think. Ash has also used Moodle. WordWall is a lifesaver. Oh my God. I have, like I told you, I have this 12-year-old student. She's amazing. Sometimes I design the classes with extra exercises because I know she's really good. And then my classes are 1 hour, and then it's like 40 minutes, and she's done everything. I'm like, oh my God. I always have like Google opened up on my web browser, word wall, whatever I'm teaching. And okay, let's do exercises. She loves them, especially with Zoom. You can give the student the control of a mouse and she feels like she's controlling the screen. It's amazing. Kahoot for vocabulary. Yes, yes. Schoology. Yeah, I have forgotten about Schoology. Schoology is really, I used it when I was working for the British Council here. Yes, I used it when I was working with the British Council here. Padlet, thank you, Carlos, so much. There you have Carlos with an example of Padlet. Nice. Debate reactivo. Nice. Nice. I love that style. And you see, you have them interacting. Thank you so much, Carlos. You have them interacting, and yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. You have some of those have been my students, Carlos, I think. Yeah, Cruz, Luisana, Jocelyn, they have been my students. Nice. Studentception. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, skill-based digital integration. Let's focus on those who are free oriented because, yeah, with money, you can basically do everything in a classroom. But let's focus on those who are free oriented. You have already mentioned some of this. I have mentioned some of this, but let's take a look in depth, okay? Let's separate them according to the skills you want to practice with. We have the tools, of course, with free access, and the pedagogical purpose, what you can achieve with those. For listening, of course, YouTube plus guided questions that you can design with AI, and Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle has a free tier subscription that has some limited features, but it's amazing to work with. Test English. I use Test English every day with my academy students. Every day in Test English, I'm surprised how it's still free when it has so many features that are premium for other companies. Yeah, they haven't like upgraded the exercises, but it's amazing. Amazing. The British Council webpage, of course, I know them because I worked with them for 4 years. The British Council page has British Council teens, adults, of course. I shared with you guys the link. Remember, for our first assignment, you had to design like a critique for a webinar. And the 2026 edition of that webinar finished this week, finished yesterday. I sent you the link and it was amazing. I could only be there on the Thursday. I was a little bit free. I could watch the one. It's amazing. YouTube and my students love Louis. Yes. Yes. And the thing with YouTube, I'm like, I want to like get the time or separate the time, I would say, because I have the time to like with the help of AI, try to curate a group of videos that I can use to work with children, not children, but teenagers and adults with different topics because that is like real English. The example when Jesus was mentioning that we used to have like the CD player and it was difficult to understand, but those dialogues are not natural. They're like, "Hello, how are you? Hi, I'm doing great. My name is Carlos. What is your name?" That is not a real conversation. That is not a real conversation. And you can have YouTube videos with real English. Super simple song. Yes, yes. And there was, now I can't remember, but there was this web page that I used back in 2013, 2014 in Venezuela. I was working at an academy, and that web page allowed you to have like the songs, the lyrics were shown on screen, but sometimes, depending on the level, some words were missing and you had to complete them and you earned I can't remember the name of that web page. You made me remember that. You reminded me of it. Lyrics training. Thank you, Jesus. Lyrics training. If it still exists, oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing. So of course, comprehension scaffolding is what you can do with YouTube and the exercises with guided questions. It still exists. Yeah, remember Vincent? We used to work with that in Alpha Academy, and it was amazing. Sally, the Pearson platform we use have those kinds of audios. They have that, yes. The funny thing is that they start like a sitcom, first the music, then the dialogue. Sometimes they speak so fast that for new kids it's too fast. So I prefer to read them myself. Yes, but we need to expose our students to real content, because you guys know when you finish an English course and you think you speak English, and then you're listening to a native speaker answering during an interview, and they use these hesitation expressions. They are like, well, I mean, do you know what I mean? And oh my God, what did he say? Do you know what I mean? What is, do you know what I mean? And it's, do you know what I mean? But they say it like in like natural way. So we need to expose our students to those. Now, for speaking, Flip is another one that you can use, and it allows you to upload the voice recordings onto the web, share to your teacher, or WhatsApp voice notes. Most of our students have a phone, or they have access to a phone if their parents allow them to, and they can just send you a WhatsApp voice note. The idea is to practice, like Jesus mentioned, asynchronous oral production. That's another assignment they can do. And I have done this with my university students. I remember for one of the subjects I taught them, they were supposed to send me their voice recording reading something. Now, talking about reading, Google Docs, of course, can be used online, shared PDF. There's now no excuse. Oh, I don't have the Microsoft package. You can use it online. Yeah, you depend on the internet, but you can use it online. It's collaborative annotation, like I mentioned. And if you want to practice reading and, of course, writing, the idea of having your students write a paragraph. One writes the thesis statement, then the next student has to continue. So you can also evaluate coherence, cohesion. It's amazing. For writing, I was just mentioning that Google Docs, offline Word plus AI revision. You can have your students write down. I did that with my current students. Write something down, post it on for Gemini or any AI they use. Ask the AI to check the mistakes and improve clarity, and include the screen captures to ensure an ethical use of AI. So that is for the process writing and the feedback, because they are going to give you like the screen capture of what AI tells them. Is not the teacher, is AI. So they're also working with AI, and you can also use. By the way, now I know that in Venezuela currently, I just read that on Twitter because I use Twitter a lot. Apparently, now you guys don't need to use a VPN to use Twitter. Is that correct? I read that on a tweet from a girl who is in Venezuela. If you guys use Twitter, still using VPN? Oh, well, because it has to do with what I'm about to mention. For writing, I don't know if you guys have access to the Meta AI on WhatsApp in Venezuela. Do you have access to Meta AI on WhatsApp? It's like a chat you can have. It's on your WhatsApp by default. You don't need to install anything. If you have WhatsApp, you should have it. Do you have access to it in Venezuela? No? Oh my God. Well, it's going to happen, guys. It's going to happen. You're going to have it because with Meta AI on WhatsApp, you can do this. You can do this. If your student has a phone or has their parent's cell phone, they can write down on the WhatsApp and ask Meta AI to check the grammar mistakes, improve clarity, and it's easier to get the screen captures. I saw on TikTok and I'm still waiting. It's going to happen, Ash. Don't worry. It's going to happen. Now, vocabulary. The goat of the goats. Word wall. Word wall. I will show you another example when I go to the live practice, guys. But word wall is amazing. Of course, retrieval practice. You teach them something, then you have them practice. There are different ways of practicing game like Pac-Man style games, balloon games. It's amazing. It's amazing. And of course, the assessment part. Wayground, formerly known as quizzes and Socrative. Wayground, I have used it lots of times, especially when it was named quizzes. You design the activities, you can program it to for the link to expire at a specific time so students can connect during the week until next class. They do the activity. Once they do it, it will send you a report to your email, and at the same time, it will send the same report to the students' parents if allowed to. And it's amazing. It saves a lot of time with the checking part. And of course, formative checks for you guys in the chat. I want you to just to think. I want you to redesign a chalkboard activity, a chalkboard based activity. How could you change it into a blended version using one free digital element? Think about the things you have taught on a chalkboard in your classrooms in Venezuela. How could you adapt that chalkboard activity to blend it with one of these free digital elements? Think about it. Take your time. Don't worry. Think about it. If you have done it, go on ahead and tell me. But take your time and think. How could you redesign a chalkboard activity into a blended version? I already mentioned one. While you think, let me tell you mine. I mentioned that I used to work with Vicente at this academy in Venezuela. And one of the things that I love doing, because we had students from different groups in the conversational club, and I had them like this crazy paragraph. I had them write one sentence on the board, then another student stood up, would write another sentence on the board, and so on. And at the end, the result was hilarious, but it helped us practice writing, coherence, and everything. So we can do the same thing with Google Docs. You have a student, you give them the topic. You give them the topic. Then a student writes the first sentence, then another student writes the second sentence. The difference is now that you can have AI revise it. even you can even have AI act funny about how the students did it. One thing that I love doing in at that academy was not giving them like the topic and let's just continue the story I told them. And it was like, one day Tommy went to the park. That was a sentence. And the next student, a dog was angry. And then the other student, Tony ran. It was so crazy. Okay, Luis, go. Tell us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
An example, I think I've used YouTube to do exercises, fill in the blanks for any grammar tense. I've used it with songs. I've used them to teach them indefinite pronouns, like maybe like a analysis of the song. I have found some channels that they play the song, then they ask questions about the song. So
Amazing.
instead of using the chalkboard, I use the YouTube account.
And it's great. That's a nice way to adapt this blended version. Thank you so much, Luis. Anybody else? Any example you have thought about before we continue? I want to believe you're writing, maybe. Anyway, so no. Okay, so now evaluating digital tools critically. Now, you need to make sure that technology enriches, not diminishes the learning experience. And at the same time, that you do not become extremely dependent on it because everything is inside your head, guys. AI or technology only helps you make it real. Okay. Ash says, I use YouTube. One of my students who likes Bluey, and I asked her about it. And the best part, nice, especially if it's something they love. If you have a student who loves, I have this student, she also loves K-dramas. I love K-dramas. Everybody loves K-dramas. If you haven't watched one, you have to. I can recommend you a starter K-drama for you to come to the dark side. But I had this student and I have found this K-drama short scenes on YouTube. Some of them with English audio, some of them with Korean audio, but English subtitles. And we talked about them. And it's great because she loves them. I love them and they love it. My best K-drama teacher. Thank you, Ash. Okay. So the alignment of your activities. These are the things you need to ask yourself. Well, for the alignment, does it support your learning objectives? Whatever you're going to use, does it support? Is it really relevant for what you want to do? Next, you talk about the cognitive demand. Does it deepen thinking or, and be careful with this, does it oversimplify thinking? Because the idea is not to make things easier for our students and destroy their critical thinking. The thing is to make our classes more engaging with this blended context. Now, the accessibility. It's a big thing for most of you. Can all students realistically participate? Because, yeah, maybe they don't have internet at home. But you can say, well, one of our parents has a cell phone. They can use it to send me their voice notes. But how often or at what time is that parent at home so that the student can use the cell phone and send you the voice note? There's a lot of things to consider here. Now, the ethics, extremely important. Is student data, identity, and privacy secure? Because some tools might ask the students to subscribe, even if it's a free thing, but they need to subscribe. And if they are minors, it's risky. So you need to bear that in mind. Now, teacher sustainability. How feasible is it to implement and maintain? Maybe it works for one of your activities and you get absolutely excited. Your students get absolutely excited, but can you implement it for the rest of a school year? Is it possible? Is it feasible? For you guys, when does technology create cognitive overload? Like so many things I need to learn, so many things I need to work with. I need to design something on Word and then take it to, this is just a great example, design something on Word, then take it to Gemini, like Jesus mentioned, to Gemini for it to read it, and then ask the AI to prepare. So when do you think technology creates this overload that might be, I wouldn't say repulsive, but that might deter your students from what they are learning or from your purpose? When do you think, guys, technology creates cognitive overload? Like most abuelitas used to say, bueno el cilantro, pero no tanto, right? Well, what do you think? Mhm. When do you think it's, oh my God, it's too much? Or when the students could say it's too much about technology? Because that's another thing. That's what happened in Sweden. And I forgot again to look for the article. In Sweden, schools are going back to textbooks. They are ditching tablets. I think it happens when there are too many tasks going on, too many sites. Yes. And that's one of the things that this article I read mentioned. Uh, Apart from the tasks, students couldn't, and I think I mentioned this, like this movement, like using the pencil or even grabbing the pencil correctly, helps a lot with the fine motricity. And students were not using pencils anymore because they were doing this only. So this is not the same as this. And you need to use your fingers with specific movements for different stuff at home. And it's a big part on our development as adults. Okay, so should we work with one or two so as not to overwhelm them? Would that be the right thing to? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially for not developing like that sense of necessity that your student sees that, oh my God, it was so easy to do with AI. Then I can use AI with everything. It's better to limit. It's way better. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Maybe it also happens when you spend more time explaining the digital tool than teaching what you need to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When the digital tool is more complicated than the lesson itself. Absolutely. Jesus and I think alike. Yes. Yes. That's why you need to, I mean, you guys know or should know your group of students and you know what digital tool would be easier for them, which one would be really complicated. And that's what you need to evaluate. Thank you guys for participating. Now, AI and ELT beyond hype. We're talking about, oh my God, it's so amazing, but wait. Ensure that technology enriches, not diminishes the learning experience. For generative AI, creating content and answering objectives. Does it really work for that? Are we using it properly. Because, of course, as I mentioned, basically with ChatGPT, I told it what I wanted, basically the exact words I wanted. I asked ChatGPT to propose some of its ideas, and when we came to the final content, I said, okay, please generate the picture, and boom, here we have the picture. So, but is it really what your students need? I'm doing it completely with AI to show you how we can enhance our classes. I'm not diminishing my skills as a teacher. Everything is here. I'm not telling ChatGPT, please create a class that has this, this, and that. Boom. And whatever it creates, that's what I do. No, I'm having like a conversation. It's like having a conversation with an extremely smart and efficient assistant, something like that. Now, for planning, streamlining lesson design, we are going to have a live example of this in a minute so that you, if you haven't, you see what you can do with it, how you can plan your classes. Now, AI for differentiation. Sometimes you have, most of the times I dare to say, in your classrooms, you might have students with special needs. Maybe because that's how Venezuela works sometimes, or most of the times. You have a student in the autism spectrum, and you cannot work with the same activities you have with the other students. You cannot work with that student. AI can help you. You just, with the correct prompt, you explain what you want to do, and you tell, I have this student on this spectrum of autism or with ADHD, whatever, any cognitive disease or problem that you know the student was diagnosed with, not that you think. Sometimes if you think, it can also work. And AI can give you a differentiation of the content. And it's okay, with these students, you can work with this exercise. And for this student, you can work with this. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, there are some risks and bias when using AI. Sometimes AI does not create exactly what you tell it to do, and you need to reconsider what you're doing. You need to redesign everything, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but it's a risk that I have to say it's absolutely worth it. And teacher agency. You are the one who's supposed to maintain control over the decisions. AI, whatever you use, is going to give you the example, but you maintain the creative control, the decisions. No, please change it. Or no, I want to do this. It happens to me often. I have already written the prompt for ChatGPT. It starts showing me the proposals. And then in the middle, I'm like, but what if instead of doing this type of exercise, now they have a listening practice? It's your decision. You must be in control. Guys, I want you to share one opportunity and one risk of AI in ELT. One opportunity and one risk. Think about your current context, wherever you're working. Think about your current context, okay? Luis says, sometimes I fight with the AI. It needs to know I'm in control. Yeah. What I did with, I mostly use ChatGPT. I have the plus subscription. And what I do is you can customize it now. Sorry, these headphones are new and I'm still looking for like the perfect position. Uh, I customize it. There's a part where you can customize the answer it gives you. And if I'm not wrong, I specified that don't say that I'm always right. If you see that I make a mistake or that I'm proposing something that, hey, this can be done, please let me know in a polite way. And that's happened. I have proposed something for my classes, and it says, I think you shouldn't work with that because of, and then it gives you the reasons why it considers it's not the appropriate approach. And regardless, it's at the end, it says, would you like to bear in consideration my observation? So it's nice. Like in Interstellar, when they programmed the robot to not joke that much. Yes, yes. Because I don't know, people from ChatGPT, they have like now included different like personalities. Like you want it to be extremely funny, you want it to be extremely sarcastic. Like, dude, I don't want a toxic coworker. I'm tired of toxic coworkers. Just someone who goes straight to the point because that's what I need. No more toxic coworkers, please. Okay, guys. One opportunity and one risk of AI. Let me know, let me know, let me know. One opportunity and one risk. While you think or write, let's have our instructional design partner perform a live demonstration. So this is the scenario for you to see. I'm going to use Gemini because it's one that everyone has free access to. This is the scenario, okay? You teach ninth grade in a low connectivity public school, which is the normal context. You want to teach past continuous for interrupted actions. This is a topic that even for advanced students gets complicated sometimes. You have a chalkboard and 10 students with occasional phone access, 10 out of 30, for example. So this is the prompt that I'm going to use with Gemini. I'm going to tell him, design a 30-minute EFL lesson to teach past continuous for interrupted actions in a low connectivity classroom. Include a digital optional element and a chalkboard-based alternative. Provide learning objectives and one formative assessment activity. Let me stop sharing for a second. I'm sorry. And let me now share the page with Gemini. Okay. Let me copy the prompt. I already have it prepared. Copy. Okay. I called my AI Sensei. I told you last class. So hello, Sensei. And let me be, would you please design a 30-minute EFL lesson to teach past continuous for interrupted actions in a low connectivity classroom. Include a digital optional element and a chalkboard-based alternative. Provide learning objectives and one formative assessment activity. I just forgot to mention the grade. It's for students on the 9th year, sorry, of school in Venezuela, or you can change the country. You're just telling it Venezuela because it gives it a better context. I have seen that the more accurate you are with your topics, the better answer you will have with AI. Okay, before I click, Luis says, one opportunity, I have used AI tools to generate materials and plans like teaching with preferences. My teenagers, 6 girls, love anime. I don't watch anime, so AI has helped me to design activities with it along the units I'm teaching. Yeah, yeah. And the risk. I've run the risk of some of my students delegating all that's the risk, the biggest risk. All the language brothers because they see they can do it and it's perfect and I can get the 20 out of 20. They take my instructions and give them to the AI to get what it needs instead of producing it themselves. For example, I've assigned them presentations or show and tell tasks, and then let the AI write the script without even giving them correct or adaptive prompts. That's why I ask my students to include screen capture of interaction. And if I see that they are just letting AI do everything, I'm sorry, but you cannot get the whole grade. Okay, let's see what Gemini does. A pleasure to be assigned this, teaching a local. It requires a bit of MacGyver energy. Oh my God. Most of you don't know who MacGyver is. I used to watch this TV series. I was a little kid with my dad. MacGyver was a guy who he was trapped. He was kidnapped, for example, and he was just kept and then locked in this room. And he would use, and I'm not kidding, whatever he found there to create a bomb, to create a weapon and fight his way out. It was like Tony Stark before Tony Stark was the Iron Man. Oh my God. Oh my God. Uh-huh. So look at this. This is a lesson overview. So the what happened moment. Past continuous for interrupted actions. 3 minutes, level 2, level A2, 90 year. So by the end of the lesson, students will be able to describe an ongoing action in the past continuous. Look, this is the whole planning done. But what you can do, remember, you remain here. I told you what I wanted it to do. But then, unless you're in a hurry, that happens. Unless you're in a hurry, you can take whatever it says and just apply it in your classroom. But you can customize it depending on your students' needs. Let's see, the hook and grammar board for 10 minutes. Since you're in a low connectivity setting, the chalkboard is your best friend. Draw a simple timeline to visualize the concept. So the story, draw a stick figure sleeping, suddenly draw a loud alarm clock. And then you say it like, last night I was sleeping, long action. When my alarm rang, short interruption. 3 formulas, it keeps the grammar approach. Example, we were playing, in those contexts, we have to provide them with the formulas. Activity, the freeze frame for 15 minutes. This is a kinesthetic activity that requires zero data or electricity. Ask a student to come to the front. It could be your know-it-all student, Maria Daniela, and mime a continuous action. Cooking, dancing, driving. The interruption. While they are miming, you, the teacher, suddenly clap your hands or drop a book. The student must freeze. The sentence, the class must shout out what happened. He was cooking when you clapped, or he was cooking when you dropped the book. He was cooking when you opened the door. You see, this is an amazing activity to do. Let students work in pairs. Student A mimes, student B interrupts. Then they write the sentence in their notebooks. This is amazing. I really like it. I'm going to use it. Digital versus analog options. Digital optional element. The if we have power plan. You see, this is why I specified here. This is why I specified in Venezuela. It hurts how accurate AI is, but hey, let's be honest. If we have power plan, if we have a projector or a single laptop phone with a bit of data, the movie pause challenge. So play a short 30-second clip from a popular movie. This is basically what Louis has been doing. Pause it right as something sudden happens. The students must type out the sentence. He was swimming when he saw the villain. Nice. Chalkboard alternative, then no power plan. The sentence mixer. Write 5 long actions on the left side of the board and 5 interrupting actions on the right. Students must race to the board to draw lines connecting the most logical or funniest pairs and read them aloud. This is nice because if they connect the funniest part, it might not be like absolutely accurate, but you can evaluate pronunciation. That's nice. Formative assessment, the blackout note. To check for understanding, have students complete an exit ticket. Prompt, write one sentence about something you were doing yesterday when something else happened. Scaffold for struggling student. You can give this on the board. I was with ing when and they follow the structure you gave them. Pro tip for the Venezuelan context. Since ninth graders often have a great sense of humor and community, use local interruptions. For example, I was doing my homework when the power went out. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. This is so accurate. This is so accurate. We were walking to school when we saw a huge mango fall. Oh my God, it makes grammar feel alive. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, you can adapt this lesson. It proposes to give you the 10 interruption prompts. You can even ask it, for example, yes, make that, let me see, this is gonna hurt and at the same time it's gonna be funny. Make that list Venezuelan, I forgot the N and I forgot the capital letter. Venezuelan style funny. Oh my God. I want to see this. And this is something to customize. I am in charge of the creative part. I have the ideas here. You'll need to connect to Google Workspace. Oh my God. Well, I'm not going to connect right now because it will take more time, but it will help. It will help. But to turn on this app, it will help. But either way, you got the idea. You create the prompt. Let me go back to our, where is it? Here, our presentation. Okay. Now, responsible AI, ethical dimensions for ELT, of course, to mitigate the risks we were talking about and exercise a duty of care in AI-enhanced teaching. When I worked for the British Council here, I worked with them for my first 4 years in this country. I think we had like 20 different trainings on students' data privacy, like working with minors because it's extremely delicate. I have around 20 certificates only about that, only about that. So how is student information protected and used? This is really, really important. Maybe you might say, parents don't care about it in a Venezuelan context, but sorry, what if they do? AI accuracy. How reliable is the AI generated output? The one I've just shown, it was absolutely accurate. We could have done some tweaks here and there, but it was absolutely accurate to the given the Venezuelan context. Bias and inclusivity. How does bias impact teaching and outcomes? Does it work for the whole classroom? Remember, as I mentioned, we tend to have students with special needs in the same classroom, and we have to create activities for them. In fact, this is one thing we can do. Let me see with the same class. Could you please show me an alternative activity for, let's say, 2 students in my group, 2 students in my group. Let me see. Let me see. The director's cut. Let me see, because this is something that it's real for you guys. Instead of sitting and writing, these two students will become the timekeeper directors for the rest of the class. Look at that. Don't worry, Ash, don't worry. This gives them a position of authority and keeps them physically active. Look at this, the setup. Give each ADHD student a signal tool. One gets, of course, you make them part of a class. This is amazing. Or a loud clap and the other gets a red card, a piece of color paper. The action. The rest of the class starts performing a continuous action at their desks. Everyone mimes, stirring a giant pot of sancocho or brushing their teeth. The interruption. Student one blows the whistle whenever they want. The moment the whistle blows, the class must freeze. This is amazing. Student 2 then holds up the red card and shouts a random interruption from your Venezuelan list. La iguana, se fue la luz. Oh my God. Oh my God. Really? Really, Gemini? Right in the Venezuelan heart. Oh my God. But it's okay. We were dancing when the power went out. That's another thing. Oh my goodness gracious. This is amazing, guys. And you see, this is an adaptation. You as a teacher stay in control. Oh my God. Nice. Nice. If you want to, I can send you the link to that conversation, guys. Wow. Wow. Ah, I am speechless. I'm speechless. Oh my God. I'm speechless. That was amazing. Okay. Now, no, let's not work with this because I want to work with the key takeaways from this session and then explain what your assignment will be, guys. So the key takeaways from this lesson: designing with purpose. Digital ecosystem must align with learning objectives. It's not just dropping bunch of AI on it. It's what's my learning objective? What do I want to accomplish at the end of a class? Platform diversity. Leverage a variety of tools for holistic digital integration if possible. Remember, you can even use WhatsApp, like Jesus was mentioning. You can even use WhatsApp for those kind of things. Critical evaluation. Assess tools' impact on pedagogy and ethics. Before and during your designing of a class, take a time to think, how is it going to impact my class? Is the use of AI really needed for this activity? Because not everything can be done with AI. And AI is just a partner. Remember, is to augment, not replace your expertise. The example for students with ADHD just came to my mind. I just pitched it into Gemini and you saw the results. My expertise was used. AI was the partner. Help me enhance it. So the next steps from this class and on, please explore further. There are other frameworks that you can explore with. What's your plan action? I want you to select a tool or strategy to implement this week in your classrooms. Try and let me know in 2 weeks when we meet again how it went. Or you can just send me a message on WhatsApp. You can send me photos if you're doing the activity, which is better. It's way better because I can see how it works. And you can report on how your students felt. And reflect and adapt your outcomes. Adjust as needed. The more you apply a strategy, the better it'll be at the end or for next school year, for the next group if you're working in an academy. Don't forget the router. Yes. So commit, guys, to applying one step and share your goal. Okay. Now, your second assessment is an ICT micro project, blended and, of course, individual. When I say blended, is like classroom activities and AI. Your job is to design a 30 to 45-minute EFL learning experience that includes one free or freemium digital tool, the ones we talked about today, or many others that you know, guys. Surprise me. I love learning from you guys as well. A low-tech alternative pathway. You propose activity, just like AI did. Oh, if you can, then you can do this. AI using the planning design phase. Important here, guys. I want you to use AI for the planning and design, but I want you to include screen captures of your conversation with the AI, just for ethical purposes, okay? Include screenshots of your conversation with the AI, please. A pedagogical framework. We talked about it at the beginning. Decide what you want to do. Do you want just to use your own knowledge or redesign something you already do? You have done, sorry. And justification. Why are you using it that way? For the AI integration, it's mandatory in the design. Listen, the AI is mandatory in the design, not in the class. Okay? If you can use it in the class, amazing. Go ahead. Be my guest. But the only aspect of this evaluation where AI is mandatory is in the design. That's why you're going to include screen captures. It supports your lesson planning. It generates materials or prompts. It may assist in the rubric creation, like how you're going to evaluate your students, if it's an evaluation, or just feedback, but it does not need to be used by students in class. I repeat, if you can use it with your students in class, go ahead, amazing. But it's not necessary. It is mandatory, not necessary, mandatory in the design phase with screen captures. It's not necessary during the class. Our due date, Sunday, like today, March 3rd. And of course, like the last minute of that day. That's the last time you can send it. Format, as you've done previously, PDF. You design whatever you want to, Canva, PowerPoint, whatever, but I want you to convert that planning of a class, that micro project, into a PDF file. Just like you did with the previous one, you send it to my WhatsApp on a private message, just like we've been working. And 6 to 8 slides or 5 to 6 academic pages if you want to explain step by step. I will send a capture of this to the group, especially for the students who couldn't connect. I don't know if you're taking notes, but don't worry if you couldn't take note about something. I will send a capture to the group. Of course, 25 points. How am I going to evaluate? What's like the split of those 25 points? This is your rubric. Sorry. Before I show you the rubric, some models with high and low connectivity. For high connectivity, for example, I work online. My students are outside Venezuela, most of them. I only have one in Venezuela, and I have high connectivity. Well, I can design an activity in WordWall. You create your free account in WordWall and you can design it. It's easy, really easy. It has the samples for you to just to fill in with the words. It's really easy to create activities in WordWall. Okay, you can include the link to that activity in the PDF file, and then I can follow it and check. These are the example activities you can do. What if you have low connectivity? Well, Jesus was ahead of me. You can use WhatsApp. With peer feedback, you can provide grammar checklists, follow-up comments. Okay, Jesus was ahead of me with this, but well, you can use it like that. high, low connectivity. These are just examples, okay? These are just examples. And you can have the help of AI with the planning of activities like this. Now, the evaluation rubric for your 25 points. And please follow this too. Like it's a guide to your life. Pedagogical coherence, 8 points. Of course, is it coherent to the level? Because you need to tell me what level that class would be applied to. So is it coherent with the level? That's one thing I'm going to evaluate. Blended design, when I mean blended, is how you integrate classroom activities with AI, with online or AI use activities. The integration in the design phase, remember to include the screen captions. If you don't include the screen captions, it's 5 points that go down the drain. Contextual adaptability. How can your activity be adapted to different environments? Ninth grade, an academy, how can it be adapted? And of course, academic clarity is 2 points. Those are your 25 points. Any questions, please go on ahead, activate your microphone or write them down on the chat. As I said, I'm going to send you a capture of this rubric, these sample models, and of course, this one.
I was going to ask that what Luis is asking, the captures inside the document or
Yeah.
up to your WhatsApp?
No. On the slides, on the document. Everything on the document, okay? Everything on the document. Any other question?
I
And
have
by the
a
way,
question.
tell me, Ash.
Yeah, so you say that the date is gonna be Sunday, March 3rd, but my Sunday is 1st and 8th.
Let me check. Did I make a mistake?
I just want to make sure. And I see the 3rd is gonna be
Oh,
Tuesday.
you're right. Yeah, sorry. It's March. It's Tuesday. Sorry. It's Tuesday. Yeah,
Okay,
it's Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Yeah,
3rd.
sorry. Yeah,
Okay,
Tuesday.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Let me immediately, because I'm gonna send the capture Tuesday. Thank you so much, Ash. Oh my God, too big for the will 16 work? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. I was gonna make a fool of myself. Thank you so much, honey. Aha. Tuesday, March 3rd. That's our deadline. It's easier to change the 3 to the 6. No. I know what you mean. I'm an idiot. At the moment I thought that, no, easy. And then my brain was slapping me like, like he's trying to postpone it. Okay, guys. Okay, nice try though. Nice try. Okay, well, I'll send you the links, not the link, sorry, the screen captures to our WhatsApp group. Thank you so much, Gray. Thursday. Oh my God, did I? It's Tuesday, honey. It's Tuesday the 3rd. It's Tuesday the 3rd. She's trying to, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Yeah, nice try. No, better try because you totally fooled me. Okay, I will also upload this video once Zoom finishes converting it, once YouTube finishes uploading it, and I will also share the link, okay? Deep down is because you want it to be there on Thursday. Okay, well, Have a good night, guys. Have a nice week. I'll be seeing you when we see each other. I can't remember the exact date. See you guys.
Thank you, Professor. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.